Shalom, everyone. So I have to start with the question that's really on everyone's mind, and yes, I will be the one to say it. Is everyone out there gone crazy? I mean, it's the question. We listen to what's going on in the world and we think, has everyone just gone crazy? I don't understand what happened. And it happened so fast. So first of all, we've spent 2 years changing everything we do. Everything. Because nature went nuts on us. So it came out of nowhere, swept across the world, everybody went into their homes, and it's now 2 years plus as we're sitting there trying to figure it all out. And then we take a step back and we notice, it's kind of like Noah when we think about it, because all of us were forced into the ark of our homes where we could be safe. And we're safe there as nature destroys things around us. And we're sitting there, and we're watching, and we're watching, and we're waiting. And then, if we look back again at the Noah story, when Noah emerges from the ark, because everything about nature has now calmed down, we're told that he plants a vineyard, gets drunk, and has terrible incidents with his sons. So now humanity seems to have picked up where nature left off. So it was safe to come out of the ark. It was safe to reemerge into the world of nature, and then humanity kept the crazy going. And now here we are, looking at the moment. We can come out of our homes. We can loosen things. We see the light. We know we're moving towards spring. We're all excited. Things are opening. It's wonderful. And then humanity kept the crazy going. And we're standing in that moment. So we sit back, and I personally say, I don't understand what's going on. I understand it. I just can't get my head around it. I don't know how this all happened. So preparing for this week for Shabbat, I spoke with some colleagues because many are in the same position, and then it gets layered on top of it because now we have to speak in shul. So now the question is, are we going to talk about it again? Are we going to bring the news into shul again? Is that what should be going on? Is that what we should be doing on Shabbat? And we're all asking the same question. How many weeks in a row do we focus on it in shul? How many weeks do we bring this now, front and center, again? It's Shabbat. Shouldn't we get a break? Shouldn't we be able to say, for 24 hours, just please, it's Shabbat? During the discussion that I had, we arrived at the same place, all of us. Shul isn't a fantasy place. It's not a place where we come in and we pretend that what's going on in the world isn't going on. In fact, Jewish law tells us that we're forbidden to pray in a place that doesn't have windows, because shul and our prayers should never disconnect us from the world outside. We should always remember that we are always connected. It's what's generating our prayers. It's what's bringing us all together. We're not here to escape it. We're not here to create the fantasy. But I want a break. I know we're not here to create the fantasy, but you want a break. CNN is doing it 24 hours, 24/7. So are some of the other newscasts. Every time you turn on anything, there it is. And it's becoming more difficult to not have it front and center. So why can't Shabbat allow me not to think about it? Why can't I create that little bit of just not think about it? And then we know that when we remember what we do together as we gather, as joyous as Shabbat should be, and we are commanded to be joyous on Shabbat, we know that we come to shul on Shabbat, and there will always be those who come to shul today to say Mourner's Kaddish. We know that that's why they're here. They will stand with each other. The rest of us will sit so that we can see who is standing and who is saying Mourner's Kaddish, who has entered a moment of grief and memory and loss. We want to see who they are because we want to know if we should be reaching out, if we should be making connections, if we should move it to the personal. We won't know that if we don't see who it is. So they stand and we sit. They lead us in the prayer. We say Amen. We become the followers. As they feel their moment of memory and perhaps grief and still loss. We force them to lead us because that is their next step. We put them in that position. They stand and they lead us. We're reminding them that they never stand alone. They will always hear us say Amen. And in fact, we can't say Kaddish unless we have a minyan. This is one of the reasons, because Kaddish is framed that way. Someone has to lead and everybody else has to follow. Someone has to be forced into that step and everybody else has to say Amen. It's the process of what we're doing. When it's over, when Mourner's Kaddish is over, we go back to enjoying Shabbat together again. We're back again. There we are. We've got the prayers going again, the singing going again, those meaningful moments going again, and then boom, it'll happen again. And the mourners will stand, and they will say Mourner's Kaddish, and we will sit, and we will answer Amen. We are being moved in and out, even on Shabbat, in the prayers, on a regular Shabbat, when nothing else is going on. Everyday Judaism shows us that we actually move between moments of worry and moments of redemption, moments of worry and moments of redemption. It's never static. It's always dynamic. It's always moving, and Shabbat is no different. We take the world with us when we come into shul. Rabbi Peretz, a colleague, offered this story that I thought was perfect. It's the story of the little Jewish town in Yakutsville. It's in the middle of nowhere. They're really out away from any central place, somewhere in Eastern Europe. And they're worried. They get together and they say to the mayor, you know, we're so far away from everything. What happens if the Mashiach comes? What happens if the Messiah comes? And we don't know because we're in Yakutsville. We're too far away. So the mayor says, it's a great question. We need to raise funds. We need to build a tower so that we can watch and we can see, is the Mashiach coming? Did he come? Did we miss it? So they get together and they fundraise and they get everything and they build the tower and they're looking at the tower. And then the mayor says, now we need a watchman because the tower won't do it. So we need to hire somebody who's going to be up there always watching. That's the job. And so the word goes out, we need to hire a watchman. One person applies. And that one person comes and is talking to the mayor, and the mayor's going over the job description of what you need, and here's what we'll pay you, and it's actually not that much that is being offered. And so the man who wants the job says to the mayor, are there benefits? And the mayor says, no. Is there insurance? No. Vacation? No. And so the man says, why would I take this job? The pay's not great. I have no benefits, no nothing, no extras. The mayor looks at him and says, you have job security like nobody else in the world has job security. And the man says, what do you mean, job security? I'm up there watching for the Messiah. I'm watching for the Mashiach. And the mayor says, and you really think he's going to come? And the beauty of that story is it's true. Because we've been told, wait for the Messiah. Wait for the Mashiach. Mashiach is coming. And then the sages tell us, but don't define what that means. We don't want you spending time sitting there trying to figure out, what does that mean? Is it a person? Is it a man? Is it a woman? Is it a bloodline? Is it an era? Maybe it's not a person. Maybe it's the Messianic era. Maybe it's a time we're supposed to be figuring out. Maybe it's what are we watching for? We're told to wait and watch, and then we're never told what we're watching for. In fact, we're told we can't figure out what we're watching for. So there we are, perfect job security. Keep watching. And then you have sages who say, it's not an era, it's moments. Redemptive moments. That's what we're watching for. So now we sit and we think, okay, what are those? What are those redemptive moments? And I want to share a story that happened here last Shabbat, in the room over there. There was a father who was here with his son, and his son is an adolescent boy. And the son, I watch the son when they come to shul, and he engages and then daydreams, as we all do. We engage and then we daydream. We engage and then we daydream. And he's sitting there, and we got to a point, we're getting ready to say Shema, and I watch as the son is leaning on the pew back in front of him like this, and I'm thinking, okay, so he's going to sleep. And he's got his head down that way, and then I see his arm go up behind him, and I'm thinking, and he's yawning. So he's taking a little break, and he's yawning. And I'm watching, and I realize, wait a second, he's not stretching. His head is down, his arm is up, and he's covering his father's eyes. And I looked at it and realized we're getting ready to say Shema. And here is this young man, this adolescent boy, who really is waxing and waning with attention, realizing we're about to say Shema, puts his head down, and then stretches his arm out. His father's eyes were closed. He didn't see it. His head was down. So it's as if he's saying to his father, I got your back. I'm good. It's fine. You relax. Maybe he didn't notice we're about to say Shema. So I got you. I got you. Out goes the arm, up behind him, onto his father's face. It's like halfway on the eyes, halfway off the eyes. I'm watching it as everybody proceeds to Shema, and I'm thinking, that's brilliant. What a moment. What a moment. And the young man had no idea of the moment he just created, the redemptive moment he just created. It came and it went in the blink of an eye. Shabbat offers us respite so that we don't dwell on negative things, but it doesn't offer us fantasy time where we're not aware of the things that are going on. We can never disconnect. We can never not be aware. And the truth is, it's hard to hear. We know it's hard to hear. Whether it's what's going on in the world in the East, in Eastern Europe, or whether it's going on in Toronto schools, where we sit there and every few days we're hearing about another salute, inappropriate Nazi salute that's going on in Toronto schools. And it's targeting Jewish students, and it's targeting Jewish teachers. And we're listening and we're hearing the response being, we're looking into it. We're investigating it. We're going to actually call someone to come in and educate about what that is. And educators know that education isn't the answer. It's the opening of a door. It's not the answer. We thought education was the answer. So we thought, you know what, if we only let people know that children are starving in the world, they'll give money and we'll solve starvation. And it didn't work. We all know it. We all see the commercials. We see it. Education isn't the problem. There's commercials about suffering animals. Heartbreaking. But education isn't the answer. Education is the open door that then educates toward action. That then says, now what do we do with our awareness? So when we hear the school board saying, we're looking into it and we'll bring someone in to educate, we're sitting there saying, and then? All of the bystanders standing around, did they have the vocabulary to say to their fellow students, stop that? They didn't. There was no action. And most times when conflict occurs, the majority of everybody are bystanders. And the question becomes, do we actually empower the bystander to know what to do in that moment? It's hard to listen to this. It's hard to listen to the responses saying, we're looking into it, we're investigating, we'll educate, knowing, and then, so your head spins. We know we can't ignore it. We know that Judaism tells us to respond in every way we can to help the innocent, to fight evil. When we need to take a break, what we do, says Judaism, is look for those redemptive moments. The ones we know are there. The ones that come and go in the blink of an eye. Watch each other. We're doing it for each other all the time. We're just not noticing it. We're not paying attention to it. We're not recognizing that's a moment that made me smile. That means it's a redemptive moment. Because the word redemption means I got back something that was mine. When I redeem something I've given to someone else, I am getting back something that was mine. When we leave Egypt, we are redeemed because freedom was ours. It was taken away. That's what redemption means. I get back something that was taken from me. So when Quebec says, maybe we shouldn't call it Putin, and we realize, you're talking about the cheese curds that go on French fries. And they're saying, yeah, but you're still saying Putin. Made me smile. redemptive moment, because it was such a Canadian thing to say. Maybe we just shouldn't say Putin for a while. Call it cheese curds. And it makes you smile. And that's a redemptive moment. There's the break. There's the moment. Today is the first time in a long time that we're going to be able to sit outside together at Kiddush. And a sincere thank you to the sponsors. And we're going to be able to sit together inside. We're going to be able to make motzi. We're going to be able to raise a l'chaim together to each other. We're going to chit-chat round a table, wishing each other a good week. We're going to sigh, and we're going to enjoy the morning. And look, I just listed 7 redemptive moments. Shabbat shalom.